Hello fellow fans, welcome back to the channel, and you find me in that London, and today I'm going to do a bit of shooting from the hip. I've got the Nikon, the 21mm, so it's Nikon full frame, but 21mm lens on. What am I going to focus to? I'm going to have it on f11 and I focus to 2 feet. And okay, so what is shooting from the hip? Well, here's a video by someone explaining what not shooting from the hip is.
A photographer that did this so well is Vivian Meyer, who often used her Rolleiflex film camera looking down through the viewfinder while taking photos from the hip level, making the subjects look imposing and powerful. So if you hear people saying not to shoot from the hip, then just ignore them. When done well, it can be a great technique to explore in your street photography.
So what is actually shooting from the hip? Well, it comes from shooting, as in, you know, shooting a gun. And shooting from the hip means you don't aim. You don't actively aim using on the gun sights, but you kind of just shoot in the direction of something using practice and so on, become better at being able to hit wherever you want to shoot. For a camera, shooting for hip in photography, you're not using a composing device, so you're not using a viewfinder, you're not using the screen. Okay, you're pointing the lens in the general direction of your subject, and depending on your skill, practice, whatever, to get what you're actually pointing at in the frame. And that is what shooting from the hip is. Hello photo fans, Future Ian here. I thought I'd just pop in and say, to be fair to Tim, he does mention not using the viewfinder or screen. I think he says you can even not use the viewfinder or screen when shooting from the hip. Now, for me, that's what shooting from the hip means, not using the viewfinder or any framing device to compose your picture. But for him, he conflates the idea of shooting from the hip and shooting from waist level. The two things aren't the same. Sure, you can shoot from the hip at waist level, but you can shoot from the hip at chest level. You can shoot from the hip above you, to your side, whatever. Okay, the whole point, the whole thing which is integral to shooting from the hip is that you're not using a framing device, whether that be a viewfinder or a screen. You're not using a framing device to compose your photograph. And that is what is integral to shooting from the hip. So rather than using that, you're using your skill, your understanding of the angle of view of your lens and so on, which you have derived through practice, to decide where to point the camera to get the picture you want. Now, I have seen, I can't remember the guy's name, he shoots at eye level, but he doesn't use a viewfinder. Okay, he just uses his knowledge of what is the lens, the angle of view of his lens, to compose and to decide where he's going to point the camera. Okay, I would suggest that that is probably at the edge of shooting from the hip. I think that's as far fuzzy, if you want, as shooting from the hip as you're going to get, in that it's kind of at eye level. Okay, so you can see over the lens what you're pointing at, but you're not actually using a composing device. I think that is the limit of shooting from the hip. But I'd say the whole idea of shooting from the hip, not using a composing device such as a viewfinder or screen. Okay, go and watch Tim's channel and his videos, especially if you like epiphanies. He loves an epiphany. Go and enjoy it. He seems like a really nice guy. With that, back to the video. And that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm in the West End, it's bank holiday. Bank holiday Monday. So I'm aiming to get about 2 feet from my subject, so 21mm lens. But it's definitely not something that you can just go out and, well, I guess you can. But the more you practice, the more you do it, the better you get. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be from down there, it can be from up here, it can be from up there, it can be from up there, anywhere, okay? The thing is, you are not doing critical framing, okay? It's not about critical framing.
Whoa, hello!
Hello? I'm a bit rusty on it, so I'm using a nice 21mm lens. But I'm having to get really close, 2 foot, to get, you know, when I'm photographing fairly fully in the frame. I can pull back if it's a wider thing if I want. Yeah, so I used to do it with 28mm, and like I say, the more you practice, the better you get. Okay, the further away you can be if you want to be. The thing with being close is that things tend not to get between you and your subject. Okay, and you can just keep an eye on things. So, because you're not looking at what you're photographing all the time, especially if you're doing like a walk by, like I do. You know, if it's really crowded, you're probably looking for the next shot as you take the first shot. Straight away you're looking for the next shot, not making yourself obvious. But basically you're 2 foot away, it's difficult not to be obvious. You just carry on, you're just walking on, you're keeping the same speed, you're not looking at your camera, that sort of thing. It's actually easier because you're not looking through the viewfinder, looking through a viewfinder, or holding it up in front of you, framing with the screen. You know, that's just making you a bit more conspicuous. The only thing is with the 21mm and you're within 2 feet of your subject is that ordinarily a bit of risk of bumping into people. But that I think happens more if you're using your viewfinder to compose, because when you look through the viewfinder or your AUX viewfinder and your lens is a 21mm, things look a far long way away. And so instead of being 2 foot away, you think, oh no, it gives the impression that you're 5 or 6 foot away. So it's really easy to bump into people. But if you're shooting from the hip, because you're not looking through that viewfinder like this, you can actually see how close people are. Even if you're 2 foot away, it's easy not to bump into them and have to say sorry. This is Regent Street I'm walking down. I'm heading towards Piccadilly Circus. And I'm just going to walk around. And what I would say is, if you want this skill, be part of your, toolbox. Is that, am I totally faffing up the metaphor there? I don't know. All these skills being your toolbox. It's going to take practice. And the first time you go out and do it, you've got to expect not to get any brilliant pictures. And it comes with iteration. It's a skill that comes with iteration. And that's why digital is really quite brilliant. Hello fellow fans, welcome back. I am caffeined up. I'm back shooting from the hip. Okay, welcome back, photo fans. I am fed and watered. I'm just going to do some normal street photography. I've still got the 21 on. I might change a bit later. So and also I still might do a bit from the hip. I might just mix that in. I've got the aux finder on 21mm.
Let's go!